What's going on YouTube? JT's Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic book reviews. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about Batman issue number 108. This thing came out earlier this week. I really haven't gotten around to recording a comic book review this week, so I'm going to go ahead and take care of that right now before we move on into next week's comic book stuff. That's the thing when you're covering so many stuff now. Since I'm covering all this stuff on the channel now, it's like, oh my god, there's just this thing, and then there's this thing. It's like if you fall behind a little bit, you fall behind a lot. It starts to stack up. So let's go ahead and talk about this thing. This thing was written by James Tynion IV, and the art was by Jorge Jimenez. The main focus of this thing is a new character known as Miracle Molly, and then there's a backup Ghost Maker storyline, which is just kind of okay. So far with the Tynion books, I was really enjoying it more like up to like Joker War. But kind of after the fact, I just feel like I'm starting to, I don't know, lose interest as this book keeps going. There's other Batman books and Batman family stuff that's going around right now. Like we have Batman Urban Legends, which is crafting a more interesting story with the whole Jason Todd thing. We have Detective Comics, which is Bruce kind of in the trenches without his resources, really kind of like with the people. That's a little bit more interesting. We have the Nightwing book, which is doing really good stuff with Tom Taylor, and the Robin book just dropped, which I'm most looking forward to reading that. So the main Batman book, compared to the other titles, is kind of falling a bit short for me. It's not terrible, but it's just not interesting me that much. We just keep getting like new characters introduced and just kind of added into this mix. We're leading towards the Magistrate storyline, which, you know, I wasn't a huge fan of in Future State, so the more we kind of get towards that, the less interested I get. The art is still really good. I mean, Jorge's artwork is incredible, but I feel like somebody posted a comment on this, and I tend to kind of agree with it now that I think about it. They said that this feels like one of Tynion's creator-owned titles with Batman kind of added into it, and as I'm reading, I'm like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. We have this whole, like, cyberpunk feel with the book. It almost feels more like a Batman Beyond book than a current Batman book. Like Detective Comics feels like current Batman. This thing feels like it's leaning more towards Batman Beyond with the whole like cyberpunk thing and the whole future tech and that kind of getting added into it. And I don't know. I'm just feeling a bit of a disconnect. I feel like this is a story that would suit more like Terry McGinnis than Bruce Wayne. But that's just me. So let's go ahead and summarize what happens in this thing. So the opening of the book is the same thing we've seen the last couple issues. It's just Scarecrow talking about fear. Bruce is captured and all that stuff. And eventually we're going to lead to this confrontation. We're going to catch up to it. But it's just the same thing, same stuff Scarecrow keeps spouting over and over again. You get the point. Elsewhere we have Christopher Nakano, the mayor who wants to honor a true hero, which is Sean Mahoney, who was there at the attacks on Arkham. He lost his arm and, functionality with his legs and all that. Nakano's still in this whole anti-vigilante thing. He's not really doing much. Simon Saint is there, just kind of easing into him, like they're going to lean into this whole Magistrate program with the Scarecrow and all that going on there. There's also a reference to Dr. Meridian, which was interesting. That's the same character from Batman Forever, Nicole Kidman. So I wonder if she's going to confront Batman and be super horny. So that was pretty much her character in Batman Forever. I love Batman Forever, but that's pretty much it. Also, Barbara Gordon notices the Scarecrow standing there, and it's really cool design. Again, I like the Scarecrow design. Elsewhere, we have Jim Gordon here. Actually, no, it's just Bruce Wayne dressed up as Match, not Match as well as his new persona. He looks just like Jim Gordon with tats and all that, so quite an interesting disguise. So we have this up with the whole Unsanity thing, and their whole plan of, resetting Gotham, stealing from the rich, giving to the poor. The whole Robin Hood mentality because the 1% just kind of screwed them over. Gotham's just a shithole when you think about it. I mean, think of all the stuff that just happened. Joker War, City of Bane, Alfred's dead, Bruce Wayne lost his fortune. It's just a never-ending cycle. So, and the city's just kind of had enough. Nakano was supposed to be this guy to come in here, like, we're getting rid of these vigilantes, even though they've been the ones kind of saving us this whole time. But he's just kind of had enough of it all, and it's just getting really to the point of just being very frustrating for him. And then we have the Unsanity there. They're just like, okay, we're taking the insane and the sane, we're just flipping it on its head. We're going to wipe people's memories, give them new identities, give them the technology to kind of move forward and into a more utopian future. That's where Miracle Molly comes in. She has a pretty cool design. Out of Tynion's new characters, she was a bit different. She wasn't all about fighting or anything like that. We just kind of got a conversation with her. She knows Bruce, that's Batman, Not that it's Bruce Wayne, but she knows he's putting on an act there, and she kind of has a conversation with him, talking about their whole goals of the Unsanity thing. We also have Mahoney, who's going to become the Peacekeeper 1, so the whole future state thing is going to get his little enhancements and become the first person in the program. It's where the issue kind of ends, at least the main storyline. And Miracle Molly just tells about her whole background. She's there to build tech for the different people. Again, very cyberpunk. Reminds me totally of the movie Hackers with the whole design and everything going on here. Very Batman Beyond-esque. Doesn't really fit Batman quite as well, but I guess I'm just going to have to kind of deal with it. She tells her whole story and what she does. She gives Batman a name about who, because the Unsanity has been doing some jobs, which it turns out was to like get some scare tactics in there, and she was hired by Simon Saint, which is where Batman's gonna most naturally go to and finally confront him about this whole thing. I assume that's when he's gonna get captured by the Scarecrow. So that's pretty much that portion of the issue in a nutshell. We also have the thing with Ghostmaker, and he's fights tigers with laser vision. That's kind of cool. But other than that, it's just a bunch of other characters who he just talks about fighting, and that's pretty much it. This story feels kind of tacked on, doesn't really tie into anything else. We didn't really get a follow-up to what happened with Ghostmaker and Harley Quinn at the end of the previous issue, so maybe we'll figure out what happens in the next thing. But overall consensus, same opening that we've gone with the Scarecrow for a few times now. I'm kind of getting a little bored with it. It's just kind of the same conversation. Fear, 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 fear. We get it. You're the Scarecrow. You like to scare things. I just wish the opening would be a little bit different, or if we can actually get to that point at this point. So I don't know why this first page just feels like kind of a waste, because we've kind of already done that a few times. The Nakano thing, that's also being talked about in Detective Comics. There's just so much Nakano vigilante thing. It's eventually going to get us the Magistrate. At this point, I'm just like, let's just get to the Magistrate already. We know it's going to happen in some way, not necessarily the exact same way as in Future State, but we know the Magistrate is coming. It's inevitable at this point. He's going to be like, okay, we'll do this thing. Unless Future State was just a big old troll. I mean, it won't happen exactly like it, but it's going to be a lot similar to it in some way. So we'll see what happens there. So yes, we're going to eventually get there. They're still laying the foundation, the groundwork, but eventually we'll get there. Miracle Molly, she was okay, but like I said, out of Tynian's other characters, she's at least felt different. It wasn't just society. Well, I mean, it was the whole society thing. Like she was a little bit different in her approach to things. It wasn't about like necessarily violence. She didn't turn out like a clown hunter or a punchline or a ghost maker. Felt a little bit different. But I don't know about you, but I'm a little tired of the original characters just kind of getting added into this Tynian book, and then they just amount to really not much. I mean, Punchline became kind of popular. She had her whole one shot, and then she's also a backup in the Joker Wars, or the Joker book. We also have who was a clown hunter, who was set up as like another vigilante type character who just kind of got forgotten about. Ghostmaker, it's the same deal. Oh, I'm like Bruce Wayne's like arch rival back in the day, and then I have this really uninteresting backup story kind of getting thrown in there too. So I don't know. I just would rather see more established characters utilized that aren't really being utilized right now, like a Tim Drake or a Cassandra Cain or a Stephanie Brown. Although Cass is going to get a story in that superhero book coming up, so that'll be something. But I don't understand why Batman's not really working with more of the Bat family at this point in time, especially in Detective Comics. If the main Batman book's going to be more of a solo thing, I can kind of get that. But Detective Comics should be utilizing more of the Bat family while he's doing stuff. I get why Nightwing is busy. I get why Robin's busy. But what about Tim? What about Steph? What about Cass? We don't really see them doing anything in those books. So hopefully that starts to change. Overall consensus, I thought this issue was all right. The artwork is really, really great. I mean, you're not going to like miss with it. It wasn't really amazing. Nothing that really grabbed my attention. It just feels like we're getting more new characters thrown in. We're leading towards the Magistrate, which isn't, it's just not interesting to me. Because I saw it done in Future State and didn't really particularly care for it then. So unless they do something really unique or different with it, I'm just not going to care too much. But overall, issue was just all right. Artwork's great. Nothing terrible or anything like that. But I just thought it was just kind of all right. So that's just it. So what did you think of this issue? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Let me know your thoughts on it in the comment section down below. Be sure to share this video with anyone who's interested in it, I guess. Subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content. Hit that bell for notifications. And I'll be back next time for more comic book stuff that's coming along the way. So as always, thank you all for watching this video. Take care now. Bye-bye then. And I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.